I'm MTIAZ POPAT.
And I'm Arielle de la Cruz Yip.
And this is the May edition of Access Community Television. And it's May, so it's Asian Heritage Month. Happy Asian Heritage Month, Arielle.
And same to you. I'm so excited to check out the Exploration Festival. I know that there's going to be lots of cross-cultural events. I know you've been. What can I expect?
Well, Vancouver Asian Heritage Month puts on a month-long festival called Exploration. It's very pan-Asian, from Korea to Turkey, so it's going to be a great event. What else are we covering this episode?
Well, we've got the Chinatown Action Group. Sophie and Vince Tao are going to talk all about development and basically its impacts on the local community.
And because it's Asian Heritage Month, Patricia Kelly will be talking about Asian fusion cuisine on Food for Thought.
After that, we'll have Eugene Crane with Michel BRUYERE to talk about his music.
Right, and we'll have a special tribute to Hereditary Chief BEAU with our Indigenous programmers here at Access TV. But up first is Ganarji O'Sullivan with Rob Smith on Hot Topic.
Welcome to Access Television. I'm Ganarji O'Sullivan, and I have a special guest here from APTN. APTN investigates Rob Smith. You can find such episodes that he's done, like Defiance and Resistance, which is about Lilu Island, and also We Are Not Extinct, which explored the Wanik tribe and their current situation. Recently, though, Rob Smith has been working on a really important issue, and that is fentanyl and how it is affecting our community. Welcome to the show, Rob. It's so nice to see you here on the set with us.
Hi, Ganarji. How are you doing?
Hi. So you're of the Kwakwaka'wakw Nation, and
that's right.
You're also Yukon, and here you find yourself smack in the middle of it all in Vancouver, downtown East Side.
That's right.
You know, urban city.
Yeah, I've been at APTN for 10 years. I started at the National News daily news program, and yeah, it's.
What's that like? Do you get to chase the news down?
That was very exciting stuff. It was a daily deadline, and it was a new story every day. A few years ago, about 4 years ago, I moved to APTN Investigates, which we get 3 or 4 months now to work stories out, to dig deeper into stories, and spend much more time digging deep, like I said, into any issue. And
so this is good because you're not just scratching the issues on a daily basis. You're going, taking the time that it needs to basically explore a story, and
that's the hope. Yeah, that's what we want to do there.
And it does make a difference. I mean, before APTN Investigates, we knew nothing of Lilu Island, or that people were being deemed extinct here in British Columbia, and did not know how the Unistoten had basically single-handedly almost stopped the Enbridge pipeline from moving forward.
Well, I think one of the things that I hope to do with my stories is to put a human face. The Unistoten is a perfect example. You saw headlines, some news stories, newspaper stories, but you didn't really get a sense of who Togasta and Frida were as you know, just human beings and what they were doing. So to go up there and spend some time actually in the camp to see what they're doing and how they're building a community. They're not just protesters. They're just real. They're real human beings who believe a certain way, and that's given the longer format gives us an opportunity to really get to know the subjects. Yeah.
And now we know that they have sacrificed their contemporary lifestyles to occupy the Unistoten territory as a means of stopping big development in that territory.
And that's a movement that's happening. You see the same theme, find the same things going on in other areas like Lilu Island.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. That people are moving back to the land and reclaiming, decolonizing, and suffering the consequences of that.
Yeah, and by covering them, we get to see an example of what it means to occupy the land. It's simply just living on the land, going home to where you belong, where your heart is, and where your ancestors lie. That's really all it takes.
Well, imagine that, just going home and living the life that our ancestors lived. And I was when I went to Unistoten, they took me out on their trap line, and it was just, that was their lives, and it was quite a beautiful day, quite a beautiful moment to capture them just living that old life.
beautiful. And if you would like to find out more on Rob Smith and APTN Investigates, like I said, go to www.aptn. Rob Smith. Recently, you've been working on fentanyl story. Tell us more about what you have found.
Well, this one's a tough one, and it's heartbreaking. It's been described to me as being a war zone out there, and that's what you see when you get down there. People are suffering. People are going through trauma. People have been left behind. There's been so many deaths, and the question of what to do next is a pretty tough one, and there aren't really many answers out there. So my question to the officials out there, are we seeing a new normal? Should we just be expecting what we're seeing in terms of the death rates to just be that? Because the drug is so easily brought into the country. It is so cheap. It is basically dollar store, a dollar store heroin.
Oh.
And it just seems like that is hard to police, and it is so deadly. One of the philosophies of harm reduction is to keep people alive long enough for them to find the healing that they need to get off the street. Well, with the dangers of this particular drug being so toxic, they don't have that time.
Yeah, because it's twice as potent, and you become addicted to it twice as fast. They have carfentanil, and then they have fentanyl itself. Mm-hmm. And we also have a lot of First Nations people who are on the street buying into fentanyl, choosing it over heroin, mm-hmm. which is like suicide in itself. And in some form, from my perspective anyway, like downright murder.
Well, certainly there's people who are saying the people who know that they're selling fentanyl are culpable in manslaughter or murder. It's interesting talking with the VPD spokesman there yesterday. He says the Vancouver Police Department considers this a health issue, that it's not a law enforcement issue. It is not. It doesn't help to bust the street level drug dealers, because they'll just be replaced quite easily. So the way to go is to treatment on demand, and another solution that might not be palatable to certain to the politics is legalized pharmaceutical heroin. Wow. And I visited Crosstown Clinic.
Yeah.
Crosstown
Clinic.
Yes, yeah. where they offer heroin pharmaceutically. So they come in and get clean heroin. They haven't lost anybody in this program.
Okay, we'll be looking for APTN's Investigate Rob Smith coverage of fentanyl. Thank you, Rob. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks.
Over to Liz.
So yeah, thanks a lot for coming on the tour. I'm going to try and not talk as much as I would normally about this building, because this for me is a very important building. It was where I started my work in the downtown east side back in 1991. And at that time I had just finished working as a nurse in the emergency department in Vancouver General, and I had left because I was very frustrated about how many people coming into the emergency department who were mentally ill were also living on the street and just didn't really have the supports they needed in the community. And we were just shoveling them out of the emerge onto the street. So I ended up coming down here and, knowing very little about the downtown east side, started effectively running this hotel. And after about 3 months of being in the building, people in the neighborhood found out, oh, there's a nurse working in this hotel. And so they just started sending all these really complex, sick, mentally ill, drug-addicted people. And I was 25 and very kind of naive and very Pollyanna, and I just said yes to everybody. And within about 3 months, out of the 70 rooms in the hotel, probably 98% of the people living in the hotel had injection drug use issues. Another 50% were diagnosed with a mental health issue, and everybody had had some sort of contact with the criminal justice system. So I now am writing a fellowship. I'm in a year of a fellowship year, and trying to distill 23 years of experience of working in this community into what I think are some principles that worked and where we made mistakes. But what is useful for their community groups to try and learn from this experience. In particular around how drug users are seen and treated in community. And what I think was very important about this building was even before it became renovated into what it is today, it was the first sort of act of an occupation in a way, of a physical space where people who were so off the map and not considered human, they were demonized terribly in this community, in the media, and I think generally as drug users they were called junkies and zombies, and everywhere I go in the world, whether it's Brazil or China or everywhere, there's a nickname for people who use drugs that's very dehumanizing, and it robs them of their personhood. And strangely for us, this was just a place where we learned that people who use drugs are just people with terrible stories and terrible lives and very few social supports, and many of them came to us after horrific trauma and years of the system failing them. And so really what we did was say, okay, what can we do? We can fix a space where they can live, and we're not going to kick them out and move the problem along. We're just going to stabilize them. We're just going to try and provide stability. And that was in and of itself considered a very contentious act, because it went against a lot of the dominant beliefs and values of that time, which were, if you're going to be responsible and operate a housing project, you have to make sure people don't use drugs in your housing. Or if you're going to take care of people who use drugs, you've got to make sure that you're telling them all the time that using drugs is bad and that they should quit. So all of these other sort of messages that we were up against were very hard for us to actually just say, no, we're just actually trying to make it okay for the population to be less in crisis and access some basics that they otherwise aren't getting, like food, like healthcare, like access to some dignity. So that's what we started here, and this eventually, after many years, we were able to work with the provincial government to relocate what was at that time a very crappy SRO hotel with 70 rooms, one toilet for 19 people, one domestic shower stall for 19 people, one tiny little domestic stove for like 19 people on each of the 4 floors. So it was very substandard, in my opinion, as housing. However, it was essential and it was desperately needed. But when I started working here in 1991, this was the epicenter of a very heavily sad community. It wasn't that there was no community, there were a lot of people. There was 15,000 low-income residents in this neighborhood, 6,000 roughly of whom were injection drug users. So everything that we learned about the neighborhood was from being in this hotel for that 10-year period between 91 and 2001.
Here today, we have Sophie Fung and Vince Tao of the Chinatown Action Group. They'll be talking about the Chinatown Economic Revitalization Plan, its impacts on the local community, upcoming projects, and a really exciting newspaper that they recently launched.
Hi, I'm Sophie Fung, and I'm with here Vince Tao, and we're both on the Chinatown Action Group. Chinatown Action Group is an intergenerational group of progressive, left, Chinese organizers working towards social justice and people power on the unceded Coast Salish territories here in Vancouver. So Vince, there's been lots happening in Chinatown recently, and we've seen a number of buildings going through rezoning and development applications. We have 105 Kiefer with 110 market units. There's 129 Kiefer with 33 proposed market units, and the Brick House and the Jimi Hendrix building, Shrine, are slated to be demolished and consolidated into 140 market units. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, the problem is there's also, on top of those plans, there's been a lot more high-end restaurants, cafes, retail shops opening up in Chinatown. Mm-hmm. In Carnegie Community Action Project's newest report, We're Too Poor to Afford Anything, they call these zones of exclusion. And they're exactly that. A lot of low-income residents and Chinese seniors don't feel welcome in any of these shops, and they frankly can't afford anything in them either. These shops are only going to be, there are going to be more of them with the city's new update to its Chinatown plan.
Mm-hmm. So the Chinatown Economic Revitalization Action Plan is an update on the original one that was passed 3 years ago. And in its latest version, the city wants to bring, quote, improvements to development policies to Chinatown to better balance revitalization with heritage conservation. But what does that mean for the low income and the Chinese seniors living in Chinatown?
Well, really, the plan doesn't provide nearly enough non-market housing to those who need it most, really. The city's inclusionary zoning policies, they don't really Actually, they're really limited in the amount of social housing they actually deliver. In the end, they really benefit the developers who want to build higher and more dense buildings. And the developers that even, they build right up to the cap, the height cap. They don't have to provide any social housing. So, things aren't looking very good in terms of,
Especially when you look back, when we looked at the units that have been proposed, the market units, there's been since 2012 and 2011 with the Heritage Area Review, Height Review, there have been 550 market units that have been approved, with only 22 units for social housing or seniors. So that's less than 5% for all of Chinatown. So on top of those already large numbers, things aren't looking so good for the community. I think this update will also threaten the wider affordability of the neighborhood with the gentrification you had talked about, but also possible displacement of low-income people from the neighborhood. So maybe this is a good time to talk about what are some of the things that we've been doing as Chinatown Action Group to push back against some of these harmful impacts on the community.
Yeah, so Chinatown Action Group has been working on new newspaper that's coming out. So it's called Voice of Chinatown, Wa Fao Xingyang. So it's a bilingual English and Chinese news service that serves to broadcast the voices of the Chinese seniors and low-income seniors in Chinatown. And the name here is really important, right? It's the Voice of Chinatown. A lot of the seniors that I've been speaking to think that they haven't been heard, either by the city or by Mayor Gregor Robertson. We really want to step in and say that these voices are important and should be heard. The logo that we chose is also really important, right? It's a take on the women's labor song, Bread and Roses. I guess our version is buns and blossoms. The steamed bun represents sustenance and labor, specifically in the Chinese community. And the plum blossom, which survives the cold, bitter winter, is a sign of inner strength and endurance.
Oh, that's really exciting. And I know in our inaugural paper, we'll be talking about some of the findings that we did from the door knocking and street surveying from the last 6 months. We'll also feature a story about the Chinese barbecue meats that were nearly banned and the protests that followed it. We'll also have a profile of one of the seniors living in the community and some of our upcoming events.
Yeah, you can find our newspaper, in the neighborhood. We'll be distributing them at Chinese shops that are really they're also facing displacement. These shops are really important to the seniors because they, more than just a place to shop, it's a place to hang out, speak. The very few social spaces that serve people in Cantonese as well. But let's talk about what's happening in May.
Yeah, so we have some really exciting events coming up in May. We have, from the door knocking and surveying that we've done, we're ready to present some of those findings back to the community, and that will be done in the form of our community tea time. And do you want to talk a little bit about what some of the preliminary findings were from our surveys?
Yeah, sure. We've been, as you said, doing street surveys and speaking to a lot of the residents, and they've been, voicing their concerns over the disappearing retail, disappearing social spaces for them to, meet other seniors and other residents. They're also very much worried about the increasing cost of living. And they feel like their voices haven't been heard. They feel excluded and left behind by the rest of the city. But there's also aspirations, right? All these things we can do better, and together we can do better. We can make these spaces, have more indoor activities, have the shops bring the shops back, things like that. Yeah.
Well, that's really exciting, and I think we want to continue to learn more and hear more from the community. So at our community times, which will be May 7th and May 28th at 2 p.m. at Strathcona Community Center, this will be a chance for residents and the community to come by and let us know what else they want to share in terms of their concerns and dreams for the community. Something else that we're excited to be doing is our People's Open House. The city and developers have been hosting many open houses, but there hasn't been one for residents or by residents or the community. And so we're hosting our People's Open House. We haven't had a date yet, but we will be posting that up on our different social media websites. But it'll be a chance for residents to do some participatory planning and some visioning so that they get to talk about a community that they want to see as opposed to what the city wants to see or developers want to see. So where can they find out more information about us, Vince?
You can find out more about us on Facebook, or you can email us at ChinatownActionGroup@gmail.com, and we'll be coming out with our newspaper, so you can find that on the streets of Chinatown.
Thank you for joining us. This has been Sophie Fung and Vincent Town from Chinatown Action Group.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Roger BRUYERE from Access TV. I would like to introduce OJ, the songwriter.
Hello, Vancouver.
OJ, are you from Vancouver?
Well, I've been living here for 11 years now, but no, I'm originally from New Brunswick. A beautiful little town on the Northumberland Strait called Radishibuktu. It was a great place to grow up, and there's lots of great people down there.
Who influenced you to become a songwriter?
Well, my biggest influences were the Canadian songwriters, like Neil Young, Burton Cummings, Randy Bachman from the Guess Who, Steppenwolf, you know, like Gordon Lightfoot, Murray McLaughlin, great songwriters.
Okay, but being a Canadian, OJ, how you wrote the song about New Orleans?
Well, that's because I'm an Acadian from New Brunswick. The Acadians from New Brunswick and the Cajuns of Louisiana, they're related by blood. You find a lot of the same family names in New Brunswick that you find in Louisiana. So when Hurricane Katrina hit the city, I kind of felt like family was in trouble. So I kept following the news through the years to see how they were doing. And then one day I'm watching Good Morning America, and the mayor of New Orleans was having a press conference. And he was talking about how the city had progressed and how they had fixed up the tourist areas like Bourbon Street, the French Quarter. And then he finished his press conference by saying, "I'd like to announce to the world that New Orleans is back." Well, that gave me the title to the song, and I had my guitar on my lap, and I started strumming. I came up with the melody, and I wrote the first verse and the chorus that day. And then weeks later, I kept working on it, and I got it done. Well, I was down in Louisiana, it was like a dream. Things are waking up in New Orleans. Music playing on Bourbon Street, rolling to a rhythm with a Cajun beat. New Orleans is back, no doubt about it. Now's the time to go up the Mississippi on a riverboat. Well, I could see the people were stronger than Katrina the hurricane. They got rhythm and blues, jazz and soul. So come shake your body, let the good times roll. New Orleans is back, no doubt about it. Now's time to go up Old Man River on a riverboat. Well, I wound up in Baton Rouge, but I had to go to Thibodeau. They were getting ready for the Mardi Gras, eating gumbo and jambalaya. New Orleans is back, no doubt about it. Now's time to go up the Mississippi on a riverboat. Well, you can sail on the Gulf of Mexico, or talk with my cousin Cajuns on the bayou. but don't be surprised if you hear them say, listen, about tolerate, let the good time roll. New Orleans is back, no doubt about it. Now's the time to go up Old Man River on a riverboat. Yeah, now's the time to go up the Mississippi on a riverboat.
We're slowly being accepted for our diverse abilities, and I think it's starting to be a real big change with the word diversity coming out a lot.
I'm Kelly Rayburn for Access Television. Here is Amy Nugent, who is our one of the people who is on the Inclusion BC representative, and Annette, who's brought her daughter along with the show. I welcome all three of you onto the program.
Thank you for having us, Kelly. We really appreciate being here.
Now, so we have a website called inclusionbc.org, and then you also link to that website is called disabilitypride.ca.
Yeah.
Tell us about what is Disability Pride.
Well, Disability Pride is a initiative that is part of the, partly funded by Heritage Canada and part of the Canada 150 celebrations that will be taking place across the country. So first I might tell you a little bit about Inclusion BC.
Go ahead.
Since 1955, Inclusion BC has been working to support the full citizenship and inclusion of people with intellectual and developmental disabilities.
Right.
It was started by parents like Annette, who believed in a better life for their sons and daughters instead of going to institutions, to living in community and being part of schools and growing up to work and enjoy the full rights that that all Canadians should have. So within that, I kind of set it up because almost 65 years later, here we are entering a conversation about disability pride, being proud to be families with disabilities and be proud of all of the people that are around us that do have disabilities. So it's a wonderful kind of pairing around inclusion and citizenship. I find to be celebrating at this time, the sesquicentennial year.
So Inclusion BC also includes Spectrum Society for Community Living and other parts of the community, all linked with Inclusion BC, am I right?
Correct, yeah. Yeah. It's a, Inclusion BC is a federation, a member federation. So while we are the voice for community living, we do a lot of the advocacy, a lot of the campaigns that inspire people to think differently, to smash stereotypes, to ensure rights and what have you. Our member organizations work in communities directly with families and people with developmental and intellectual disabilities.
Okay, so one of the other questions I'm going to ask you is, and I'll ask each one of you, I'll ask you first, Emily, what does disability pride mean to you?
Well, what I can say is, for me, working at Inclusion BC, I can say, for us, what it means to me is being proud that I live in communities with such an amazing spectrum of people that are my colleagues and my neighbors and my friends. And I am just very proud of the people that I know who live with disabilities. And so for me it is kind of wanting to celebrate that as an ally, but also as an activist, and to work alongside people with disabilities and their families to ensure that they have equal rights. So,
Annette?
Well, for Emily and I, Disability Pride is an amazing chance to celebrate and to share and to come together, celebrate our accomplishments, because as a movement we have come so far. The work of self-advocates and the work of families and organizations together has brought our movement so far ahead. But it's also an opportunity to share our hopes and dreams, because as much as we've come so far, there's farther to go. And this is a great opportunity for us. This is a great opportunity for us to invite everybody in to share this with us, because it's exciting, and we're really looking forward to our opportunities for celebration.
That sounds great.
I just want to say, I think that's true. It's Disability Pride just isn't about people with disabilities. It's about everybody and everybody enjoying one another and celebrating one another. In community.
And you got an event that is coming up on June 5th in Richmond. Tell us about this event and what's to expect for Disability Pride.
So on June 15th of this year at 10 a.m. in Richmond, British Columbia, thousands of people, we're inviting thousands of people to come and gather, location to be determined. We'll be keeping you posted on disabilitypride.ca.
Right.
But it'll be Canada's first Disability Pride celebration in March. It's never happened before. So it will be everybody just gathering, and there'll probably be some speeches like there are at other types of marches, talking about people of all abilities and the accomplishments, like you said, that have happened. And then it's going to be a celebratory march to another location where we're going to be hosting a free pancake breakfast for everybody who comes. And there'll probably be music and time to celebrate. And so that's on June 15th, and it's in the morning because in the afternoon our annual learning event takes place. And so we attract hundreds of people to the location every year where we do our learning event. This year it's in Richmond as well. So in that afternoon there starts 4 days of some of the best opportunities to get connected to resources and best practices on inclusion and citizenship and people with intellectual and developmental disabilities.
Okay,
so
and then quickly I got to mention about the disabilitypride.ca. You have two websites there that are coming in April. One is called Maps and stuff, and explain about that kind of stuff that is.
So Disability Pride is a march and celebration that's happening on June 15th, but it's two other things. And the big thing is that it's a conversation. So the conversation comes in the forms of documentaries, like you can see on the website, where we bring the notion of disability pride to community inclusion movement and ask, what do you think of pride? Is it our time to celebrate pride? You know, for other groups, civil rights groups, pride falls on their trajectory of rights and acceptance and inclusion. So for the community inclusion movement in British Columbia, it's never really been seen as a civil rights movement. So we started by kind of introducing it as that, and now introducing this idea of pride.
All right, how they get
And then secondly, it's a resource hub and grant. So there you can apply for a grant to participate in existing celebrations and marches, and you can find out what's happening in the province through that map and through a toolkit.
Okay, how do they get more information on this events and stuff?
People can go on to disabilitypride.ca and contact us right there. It's just like, boom, it's this little simple form.
It's a little edit to it. Yeah. All right, well, thank you very much. I've been speaking with Amy, Annette, and Emily, all on the Disability Pride. You're watching Access Television. My name's Kelly Rayburn. We'll see you again next time.
Hello there, I'm Patricia Kelly, and today I have two very special guests. DIANTE Villegas and Bradley Hawkins have come into the studio today, and they're going to taste test two snacks that I made. And they're being pretty big about it because I put some salad into the snacks. So I've kind of hidden the salad greens. So we know salad greens are good for us, but kids don't always want to eat the salad. So thank you, both of you, for being here today. It's really nice to have you here. So I've got a question for both of you. Do you have a favorite vegetable? DIANTE, what's your favorite vegetable?
Peas.
Peas. And Bradley, what's your favorite vegetable?
Carrots.
Carrots. How about a favorite snack? Deontay, what's your favorite snack?
Grapes.
Grapes. Do you have a favorite snack?
Grapes.
You like grapes too. Excellent. Okay. Well, I'd like you to try the sushi first. So, you pick that right up. Just take one bite of that. You can dip it in the sauce if you want, or you don't have to. It's a coconut sauce, so it's kind of like soy sauce, but not as salty. Yeah, you take a big bite. So there's avocado in there, and there's some brown rice, and there's some carrots, and some, sorry about that. I'm not very good at making sushi. It fell apart at home, so yeah. Do you like it? It's pretty good, hey? Yeah, I think you guys could probably make it yourself, too. Yeah, Bradley, what do you think of it? Okay, you like it, excellent, good. Is there anything else you'd put in there that would make it taste even better?
Chicken.
Chicken, you put chicken in your sushi. What about you, Bradley? Would you put anything else in there? Make it taste really good.
Salad.
See, more salad. Really? You like salad?
I love salad.
Oh, he loves salad. Oh, that's so good to hear. And what?
And soup.
And soup and salad. Excellent. Okay. And one other thing. Anything else? Okay, how about I get you guys to try the sandwich? So the sandwich has hummus and some avocado, and it's got some more salad. So I took my blender, and I just blended up a whole bunch of salad with a little bit of garlic and lemon and a little bit of oil. So how about you try a bite of that?
Dip it inside?
Oh, if you can if you want to. I don't know if you don't have to though. Yeah. Okay, you guys are really good sports. You can move that a little closer if you want. Okay. What do you think? What do you think? Not your favorite? No. Can you taste the salad in there?
No.
You can't taste the salad in there. Oh. Sorry. So I guess you like the sushi more then, hey? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was pretty good. I had that for lunch today. I kind of liked it. Well, okay. So what would you put on a sandwich then to make it taste better?
Cheese and chicken.
Cheese and chicken. Excellent.
Cheese.
Cheese. You like cheese sandwich too? Okay. Well, that's really good. Okay.
And ham.
Is it stuck? Okay, thank you guys. You were really good sports. So, is there anybody you think watching me on TV that you would like to wave and say hi to? Yeah, we'll look into this right over here. You can wave. There we go. Say hi to people. Say hi to your friends at school.
Hi.
Yeah. So we'll definitely have to have you guys come back. And you can bring your own snack next time, okay?
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Eugene Crane, and this is Access Community Television. Today in the set, we have Michael BRUYERE. Michael was born in Winnipeg, Manitoba. He kicked off his career in the early 90s for the band Shake Naked. Now he is currently on world tour with Buffy Sainte-Marie. Welcome.
How you doing, Eugene? It's nice to meet you. It's nice to see you again. I wanted to say, I am Michel BRUYERE. I do work with Buffy Sainte-Marie. I also work with Derek Miller. He's Mohawk. He's from Ontario, and he also just has a TV show out called The Guilt-Free Zone. I'm a cast of that. I play traditional instruments as well, the drum. And then I play, this one's called the Woodlands Flute, I brought with me today. And I do music camps, Eugene, what else do I do? And just learning more of my cultural teachings to pass on to children, so yeah.
You're a busy man.
Thank you.
One of the things I wanted to talk about is the controversy APCMAs,
Sure.
which is now the Indigenous Music Awards. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. What had happened was, you know, my group, like, I've been in this music business for like over 20 years. Since I was 17, I started playing in the clubs with these top bands. So I'm very fortunate to get that experience and that knowledge. And over the years, I got to watch, say, the CAMAs grow, and then it died. And then we had the APCMAs grow, which was in my home territory, Winnipeg. And like I said, I made some very strong roots there, and still to this day we can share those. Like, I'm endorsed by musical instruments, I'm endorsed by clothing companies, but I'm banned from my own music awards. Why is that? Because I asked them only 2 specific questions, and this is in their history. Well, who are the industry voters, I asked, because I don't know them, and I should, because I know every industry voter in the music industry. I know them in the Junos. I'm very great friends with CRUZ. I'm a SOCAN member. And they couldn't provide that answer with me. In an office setting of many Indian musicians there, or First Nations musicians. I still use the word Indians because, you know, you can change the names as much as you want, but that's what they first came here calling us that, so let's go. But anyway, and then the next question was, Eugene, was, how does one nominate himself twice in the category? That's where I just had to stop, and I had to speak up as a First Nations, not only person, but a musician. But I had to speak up as a blood, as a Anishinaabe, to say, like, what is right, and when do our people stop acting like, and not against colonialism, but where do we start to act as our own people? And so I said those 2 words, those 2 issues. Sorry. A little nervous speaking of that, because it does touch my soul. It touches my heart. It touches my spirit, Eugene, because as you see, it's not like I'm sitting back waiting for the phone to ring. I'm out there working with children. I'm out there learning my culture, whether I go to Wisconsin to the Midaywan ceremonies, and that's our own teachings, the Anishinaabe teachings. So it's hard on me, but you know what? I let it pass, and I know that there's much more work in this beautiful country to do.
That's right. Thank you for that. That's a good explanation. I know you're really busy. I know you're playing everywhere. I see you traveling all over the place. What's coming up next for you?
Oh, good question. I wish I knew the date. We were just talking backstage. We have a lot of great things happening. A lot of Canadian dates with Buffy St. Marie. So just look on her website at buffystmarie.com. And I'm on there as well if you want to follow me, because I always like list some dates that are not listed on her website, just because she's such a busy lady herself. But I always list the dates of where we are, and then also we do I'm doing my music camp, interprovincial music camp in Ontario. If your children are out there, if you have friends in Ontario, please look into interprovincial music camp.
Thank you very much for that. Look out in the city for Go Ape, Artists Against People's Expansion. Look out and check out Lemon Cree. And Michael, if you could play us out of this segment.
Sure.
Let's illustrate a lot of the important themes around what it takes to create affordable housing and the supports for people who are low income and marginalized and let's have a walk around this example of Vancouver's evolution and Vancouver's neighborhoods where things connect and where there's frictions and often real struggles to create the housing and other social infrastructure that we really need. One is built under BC Housing or BC Homes social housing program about 1997-98. And next to it is also Vancouver Native Housing, and I think that's about 3 or 4 years old, done with BC Housing and federal government monies. And this is an example where there was support from sort of unexpected areas, and challenges from unexpected areas. And my tone of voice may vary as I describe these, but I don't want you to conclude who's a villain and who's a good guy. You know, the market guys said, we welcome the non-market First Nations guys. We think it's a great idea. How can we help? Good. And, but there was a little bit of controversy. And this I didn't make this story up. You see that nice heritage facade when the heritage planners, man, were they keen on preserving that. But they had an important requirement, and they really dug their heels in, which was the totem pole should not be visible from the street because it detracts from the heritage facade. Any guess where this is going? Yeah. Now, if you move the totem pole back, you lose the units, which diminishes the social value. Oh, but you're talking to the heritage guys. They don't do social. They do heritage. So this was kind of resolved when some of the elders in the community came forward and said, well, we understand your settler heritage and that you're very fond, if not romanticizing it, but we kind of like our artistic heritage too. So why don't we put the totem pole on the bottom and you can put your heritage thing up in the air and it can sit on top of our stuff, dominant and dismissive the way we're used to being treated. Or maybe we could invert it and y'all can compromise. And so that's it. So again, nothing that 3 months and $50,000 of consulting time and whatever grief and heartache it would take to come to, well, I think most of you would think is a lovely conclusion. It looks great.
Hi, I'm Ariel and you're watching Access Community Television. Today I'm here with Pierre Leichner of the Vancouver Outsider Arts Festival. Hi Pierre.
Hi Ariel.
How's it going?
Going very well, thank you.
And tell us what outsider art is to start off.
Well, outsider art essentially is defined by the artists themselves rather than the art. Mm-hmm. So it includes everything from performance, visual arts, installations, and so on. What today it has evolved to is essentially all these artists, and Vancouver has a great richness of outsider artists who are essentially outside of the mainstream, outside of the art market for many different type of reasons. Mm-hmm. And these individuals and groups are, I feel, really undervalued and under-recognized by the public as well, of course, as the institutions. Mm-hmm. And yet, they are the source of creativity and innovation, which eventually finds its way into the art
mainstream,
market.
Right?
Exactly.
Definitely. And so you speak a bit about barriers that artists face. What are some of those barriers?
Well, again, we can talk about, since outsider art is a very broad category, there obviously everything from individual barriers, which can be both in terms of socioeconomic pressures, inequities, or it can be health inequities, mm-hmm. disabilities, and so on. Definitely. It can be educational barriers or financial barriers and so on, place and so on. There are many different barriers that can be in the way. Getting into the art market, so to speak, if one wants to do that, means having to learn the way to promote oneself, to be an entrepreneur and so on, and Definitely. That's not necessarily what people may want to do.
Mm-hmm. And so this August we have the inaugural Vancouver Outsider Arts Festival at the Roundhouse Community Centre, right?
Right, so from August 11 to 12, mm-hmm. We're going to provide the opportunity for many of these artists to show their work, sell their work if they want. They'll make 100% of the profits.
Amazing.
We are not charging any fee for people to have their show there. Mm-hmm. They do need to apply and to give us some information about themselves. We will make it as easy as possible, and we will. And there will also be workshops during the show to help people with getting some of the skills and knowledge about how to promote themselves if they wish to, and as well as some art making workshops.
Great. And thank you so much, Pierre, for being here. Where can people find out more?
All right. Well, right now it is through the Vancouver Community Arts Council, and so they can access the website of the Vancouver Community Art Council, so that's www.cacv.ca, or also directly write to us at voaf@cacv.ca.
Excellent, and we'll put that all up for people to be able to
There's a phone number too.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Pierre, for being here. We'll definitely have to have you back.
Thank you very much. Love to.
And up next, we have a very special tribute for the late hereditary chief, Wallace Gayam Bodick, by our Indigenous programmers.
Hi, I'm Gary Oliver, and this is Access Television with Eugene Crane and Gennady O'Sullivan.
And we're here to pay tribute to hereditary chief Wallace Gayam Bodick.
Yes, here we are a year or so later after having the pleasure of sharing the screen with Wallace Gayam, a hereditary chief of the Kwakwaka'wakw Nation. Wallace Gayam was an internationally renowned artist, an activist, a big house leader, a knowledge keeper, and he has lived up to his responsibility in more ways than we could ever dream. Today we have 4 people sitting with us who would like to share some of the momentous occasions that they have shared with Bodick. We're going to start you off with SARVENAZ, AMANAT, and CYRUS GREENALL of the Baha'i community. They are also members of the 1515 Gallery where service was held for Wallace Gayam.
My name is Sarvenaz Amanat. I'm the director of Gallery 1515. I also work as an educator at Vancouver Art Gallery, and I'm a member of the Baha'i Faith, a community that has had a long-standing relationship with the people of Alert Bay. I had the opportunity to meet Bodick at a number of events in Alert Bay, and had the honor of serving at his feast at UBC in honor of Lala Kanis, a journey of truth and unity, and the copper shaming ceremony. Bodick is an incredible artist with work all around the world, and right now, currently, his work is being featured and exhibited at Documenta in Athens, Greece, a true accomplishment, as there are very few Canadian artists being exhibited there currently.
My name is CYRUS GREENALL. I'm also a member of the Baha'i community, and I was adopted into the Willie family. My adopted name is Git Nukswame. And for 14 years, since I went to school in Victoria, Alert Bay and the Kwakwaka'wakw people became my second family. And I had the pleasure of meeting Beau through that family, serving at potlatches and feasts, including his feast. And Beau, to me, really exemplified so many of the qualities that makes the Kwakwaka'wakw people so special. His sense of spirituality, his sense of love, his sense of unity. These are the things that he stood for. I think that anyone knew him could see in him and could see in his work. It was not merely art. I think it was an expression of his beliefs that resonate so well with me.
Beau was family, and it's a big loss for our family. And I knew him when I was really young. I grew up in the same house. I stayed with my auntie for the first couple of years of my life, and lost contact with him until much later when he was when he was out there being an activist, and I was a journalist covering his stories. And he always had something very important to say. He brought history forward that the rest of the world should know about, and should know about us as our people and the struggle that we've been through. And you can always count on him for a great story.
I personally remember Beau as somebody who is a magical man who had some sense of connection that most of us couldn't even fathom. He had so much patience. He was so gracious. He had so much knowledge to share with us, and all we had to do was be ready. But now Bodick is gone, but he will never be forgotten, and it will be those who have been in touch with him who will continue to move forward. with whatever wishes and plans that they had made with Beau while he was here on Earth with us. Gary?
Yeah, Beau was really instrumental in a lot of things that he had done in his life, drawing attention to the mistreatment of Aboriginal peoples across Canada. As a man, I have the greatest respect for him. There are times that he sat down with me in my own trials of life, and with his kind words, was able to, give me that, that time to, to get through the things that I went through in my life. So, and he also gave me my name. My native name is Teklanok, given to him by his family and his other hereditary chiefs.
This is Access Community Television, and rest in peace, Wallace Guyan Bodik.
So as we see the results from this provincial election, Ariel, we really need to talk about electoral reform, which people have not talked about in this election. It was an issue in the federal election, and the Prime Minister has sidestepped that because he didn't like the way it was going. But with the Green Party and the NDP both becoming more popular, I think vote splitting is a real issue. And we need to talk about that in the coming months in terms of electoral reform on the federal, provincial, and the civic level.
Right, it's definitely important at all levels of government.
Yes.
And so next episode, what can we look forward to?
So we had the International Day Against Racism March, where we were attacked by soldiers of Odin, who are becoming a real menace here in the city in the Vancouver East Side. And we're going to have Cecily Bell Blaine from Black Lives Matter next episode to talk about what happened there.
Thanks for watching. We're going to close up the show with some footage by L.J. Meyer of the late hereditary chief, Wallace Guyan Bodik.
We have just returned from Ottawa, where we broke a copper.
Beau has, through the breaking of these coppers, has invoked our culture to say, enough's enough. There's a wrong being perpetrated here.
Well, I rolled and I tumbled and I couldn't sleep all night long. Yeah, I rolled and I tumbled and I couldn't sleep the whole night long. Well, I woke up this morning and I knew that there was something.
How wonderful to be here today to share this time. We thank the Creator for everything, all the gifts that we receive. Our intention, of course, was just to bring attention to our concerns about our territorial claims and what's happening to the environment in our territories.
They can't sign a piece of paper, guess how loud they will weigh.
Our coppers are a symbol of justice, a symbol of truth, a symbol of balance. Can we as First Nations stand together and prove something to the world about looking after each other, looking after Mother Earth? I think we can.
But I woke up this morning and I knew